Hey there, it's Michael. Welcome to Whole Again, the show that's here in support of you creating a meaningful life and the person you're becoming. And I'm excited to share a new series with you that will air this summer as America turns 250 years old, which is still pretty young relative to many other countries across this big blue marble that we all share. The series is called A Perfectly Imperfect Union. In 2022, I rode my bike across America, from Astoria, Oregon to the Lincoln Memorial. My wife drove our RV, and she had two co-pilots, Jester and Hope, two Springer Spaniels. And when we did it, America was coming out of the pandemic, and we were hurting from things that had happened prior to the pandemic. Of course, going through what we all went through. And at that time, and this is something I still believe today, is that we were entering an inflection point. An inflection point for us to hopefully pause, breathe, and reflect on who we wish to become as individuals, as communities, and as a country. As I pedaled across America, I wanted to share America's beauty with others, her natural beauty and the beauty of her people. And I also wanted to share where we were hurting. As America turns 250, I believe Kinstugi, which is something we use as a metaphor here at Whole Again, is a perfect metaphor for where we are as a country. There's so much beauty to celebrate, and we can also acknowledge that parts of us feel broken or are broken, but we can find a way to come back together, just like Kinstugi teaches us. And when we do, we don't try to erase or cover up where we have scars or blemishes. We highlight them in gold, and we celebrate them as symbols of our strength and resilience. Kinstugi is called the golden repair, and in essence, we can see beauty in something that's perfectly imperfect. During this series, I plan to speak to at least 2 people in each state and the District of Columbia. So 102 conversations with real folk, as I like to say. We're going to let the celebrities and the big influencers have their day somewhere else. But here, I want to reach out and talk to real people and listen to their reflections as they think about America turning 250 years old. And my hope is that you'll tune in to at least one, if not all 102. Because my theory going into this is that you'll hear different perspectives. Some may be aligned with yours. Others may not. But my hope is that you hear the goodness in your fellow citizens and realize, as Maya Angelou shared with us, we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. I've had the privilege of traveling all over the world and all over this country. And this belief is something that I hold deep inside of me. So yes, I do believe that we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. And if you're ready to get to know one of your perfectly imperfect neighbors, just like all of us, take a healthy breath in and a slow releasing breath out, and get to know Howard Miller. Howard, great to see you. So thanks for joining me here on our series called A Perfectly Imperfect Union. So, how are you doing today, my friend?
Michael, thanks for inviting me. I'm doing really well. Summertime in Cincinnati. It's a great time to be outside, exploring everything we have to offer here.
Absolutely. So, we have a shared connection in our university. So, James Madison University, we should upfront say go Dukes, and we can get into it. So, obviously, I know a little bit about your background, although we had some overlap at JMU, but we didn't know each other. But for those that don't know who you are, can you take a moment to introduce yourself? And you sort of gave us a hint. You're in Ohio, so Cincinnati. So I guess the second part of the question, for those that haven't been to Ohio, what's something that's really cool about your state?
Okay. Yeah, just the connection back to James Madison um, brings back a lot of very fond memories. Um, so that was the start of really my journey into environmental work. I
Mm,
got an undergraduate degree in geology with a minor in environmental science. I went on to the University of Toledo to get a master's in hydrogeology with a focus on uh, groundwater quality, and that led me to my first professional job in Cincinnati, where I met my wife, who is a native of Cincinnati. And little did I know, she had no desire to leave. The good thing is, Cincinnati ended up being a great place to live, grow professionally, and expand my career, and also raise a family.
yeah.
And I've been doing environmental work ever since I landed here. I've been doing private consulting work for 20 years, and I recently transitioned to the public side. I work for the City of Cincinnati, the Office of Environment and Sustainability, and we do a lot of the work that we do focuses on social sustainability. And so that's me kind of in a nutshell. So back to your other part of your question, um, something special about Ohio, maybe even a little more focused on the city of Cincinnati. What I like about Ohio, and I know this is cliche, we're the heart of it all. It really is. We're just blessed with a state that has a nice balance of medium-sized cities that have all the amenities you could ever want, from very nice restaurants to entertainment to sports. But they also have very much solid set of values, principles, give a very much a welcoming vibe. I feel like I belong here. I don't feel like an outsider. Never have. Um, and so there's this sense of security with raising a family and staying here that I think most people can relate to. I love the fact that as you move out of the cities we have here, we have some just beautiful natural environments, um, great areas to just explore and hike, rivers if you're into boating, um, that are just fun to get on. The Ohio River, we're right on. It's beautiful. And I think one of the things that also I really enjoy about Ohio, it is a crossroads. We have we're at the crossroads of the Great Lakes, the East Coast, the real further Midwest, Mountain West, and we're also at the crossroads of the South. And
Yeah.
we see this mixing of people. And I'm a real believer that the diversity of people it creates much more benefit as the sum versus the individual parts. And honestly, as I am in my 50s and I look to retire, one of the things that dawned on me is, what am I going to do in retirement? A lot of people think about where am I going to live in retirement,
Sure.
and I had thought about, oh, I want to go to a lot of different places I haven't been. There's, bucket list, but I keep coming back to I just want to visit there. I am going to live in Ohio. I'm going to live in Cincinnati when I retire, because it is such a great place. I kind of came came to the conclusion that if Cincinnati wasn't that great a place, I would have left a long time ago. I would
Yeah,
have talked my
yeah.
wife into it. I think it would have been easier to talk her into it. Um, and so the reality is, in the line of work that I'm doing, is that we're finding that Cincinnati is becoming a destination place. It
Yeah, that's cool.
has shifted from what a lot of Midwest cities went through, with people leaving for various reasons, many to the Sun Belt. Um, we're seeing a shift in that population. We're growing again. Many of the Midwest cities are as well, and that's been a positive.
Yeah.
And so we hope to see that continue.
That's great. Some great press for Cincinnati and also the state of Ohio. We were talking before we hit record, and I shared that my youngest daughter now lives in Columbus, and so she has some of the New Jersey, New York, fast vibes to her. So when she first got out to Columbus, she's like, everyone is so polite. It's like no one wants to go on a four-way stop. Like everyone's just waving, everyone's just waiting and waving and she's like, we just got to go, Dad. Like, in New Jersey, no one seems to actually stop at the four-way stop. We just go through them. But but it has that wonderful Midwestern uh, humanity and connection. And I know when I rode my bike across America, I rode through Ohio, and it was such a great experience. Just the people and just the differences in geography and how each part of the state has, as you mentioned, up near the Great Lakes, like Lake Erie, but further down south as you get closer to Kentucky, um, different characteristics, and that diversity makes it a very, yes, special place to be. So I have to ask, a lot of things have come up in this series, a lot around food, and obviously Cincinnati is sort of known as like that five-way chili. So is that something that local people eat, or is it just like a tourist thing? Like,
Oh, very much it is, local people eat it.
okay, all
They
right. So
can't
it's a
get a
local thing too.
yeah,
Okay.
can't get enough of it.
All right.
Um, yeah, and it's, you mentioned the five-way. We have the three-way, which is the cheese, the chili, and the spaghetti noodles.
Okay.
Four-way is either you add onion or bean, and five-way is onion and bean.
All right.
Very, very good tasting, very filling, comfort food.
Yeah, it's good
It's
comfort food. Yeah.
fast casual,
Sure. Yeah.
and, and there's some slight differences in style and
Sure.
ambiance of the different restaurants, but the most known, I'd say, franchise chain is Skyline Chili.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
Great story behind that, and if anybody ever is in Cincinnati or has, I think there's a couple of these chains, other places, you have to try it.
All right.
It's, it's a Cincinnati staple. It's right up there with, and I think you can get, the chili in most of the because Kroger's based in Cincinnati.
Okay.
I
Oh
think they
yeah.
stock Skyline chili wherever you can get Kroger, wherever you have a Kroger. The other big, if you're in Cincinnati and you wanna try something, and I know everybody will like this, is ice cream. Grater's ice cream is
Okay.
some of the best ice cream you can get in the country. I stand by those words. If you can pick up some, at a Kroger, but better yet, hit one of their stores, in Cincinnati while you're here. The raspberry chocolate chip, it
Okay.
will be your new favorite.
I am taking your word for it, man. So I'm due to make a trip out to visit her, and I think we are going to road trip. The last time I was out, took a road trip up to Cleveland, and we're going to take another road trip, maybe to Cincinnati, which I've never been to. I haven't, I've been around Cincinnati, but not in the heart of it. So Skyline chili and some ice cream. I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it on my to-do list, and I'll report back our findings to you. So, very, very cool. So I've been asking folks in the series, if you were gathered around, maybe you're gathered around a nice five-way chili with your friends and family, and someone would ask you, "Hey, what does America mean to you?" How would you respond to their question, Howard?
Yeah, I've thought about that general question a lot lately, and I come back to um, a couple of words. I don't know if I can describe it in one word. Um, choice. The choices we have in this country are unbelievable, um, and I think choice is a big part of the foundation of freedom.
Yeah.
We equate uh, America with freedom, and I know that there's a lot of talk out there about just what direction the country's going in and how our freedoms being suppressed and things like that. But I would say choice is a big one. I think there's still a ton of opportunity to be had in this country, and those really reside in my brain a lot. The other two things in my head is that we are very welcoming, have been welcoming overall. I know
Mm,
there's been some ebb and flow with that.
yeah.
Um, and there's a sense of belonging in this country as well, um, that I have, and I think many people have, is that we have a lot of pride being here, and we feel like this is home. Um, and maybe there's some generational aspects of this as well, that I could speak to. But those are words that come to my mind when I think about America.
Yeah, I love the fact that you brought forward the word choice, because I do think we, even in our most trying times, we still have a choice in how we want to show up for each other, and and with that choice, there's a responsibility to, to shape the culture in the way we wish for it to be shaped, as opposed to just being passive, right? So I love the fact that you brought forward this whole concept of choice. And you mentioned too, just, there's obviously a lot in the news, a lot on social media, the feeling that, we're divided, we're siloed, there's loneliness, there's a whole bunch, like the list can go on and on, right? So I was curious though, like, are there times where you feel really connected to your fellow neighbor there in Cincinnati? Maybe metaphorically speaking, maybe it's not your exact next door neighbor, but where you feel that connection, even when you're with people that you may have a different perspective from. Any moments come to mind?
Absolutely, literally every day. One of the
Yeah.
biggest reasons I decided to become a public servant was I felt disconnected from the city, the community. I felt very much where I lived and how I worked and who I worked for. I was in a bubble, and um, it, it it was real, but it felt a little bit off center from reality. And just getting into public service made me realize that the city is very diverse. There's a lot of people coming from so many different walks of life, have so many different challenges. Um, Many people have wonderful stories, bring many strengths to the table. And I wanted to be a part of the community that really was on the front lines of how do we continually improve where we live? How do we help people that do need help, have struggled. Maybe there has been some um, systemic uh, um, things that have held them back or made it difficult to move forward. And I've been blessed to have a job that has allowed me to do various different things within Cincinnati to help the community on environmental and sustainability. And it is such a broad topic that we're able to be innovative, we're able to pivot and be agile to help where the help is needed, to be able to prioritize that, to be able to um, listen to the city's voice and listen to where we need to participate more and allow people to participate more in the conversation. So that's been really deep. That's probably the biggest area. The other area, and I've spent many years coaching as a is it's a love of mine to coach lacrosse.
All right.
I love
Yeah.
playing it. I love coaching it, and it was very meaningful for me to not just instill. One of the things I learned early in my coaching career, it wasn't about necessarily teaching young men how to play the game of lacrosse. It's
Yeah.
a lot of it was about culture and
Sure.
teaching young men how to work as a team in any environment and understand that we may not all agree, may not all get along, but sometimes we have to put a bigger purpose ahead of our individual, desires, and how to prioritize and how to be accountable for what we do, and that's been a great journey as well, being able to help young men come together in a sport we all love, but also build upon that.
Yeah, that's so great that you're doing that, because that's a gift that you're providing to them that they'll carry with them throughout their life. I know that some of my coaches from my youth, even going back to when I was a 10-year-old little leaguer, I still remember some of the guidance that my coach, Ron Brown, gave us back then. I still use it to today. So the fact that you're leaning into that is like such a great gift. One of the things, or the thing I'm using as a metaphor for our series, is the Japanese art form of kintsugi, where pottery breaks, but we can put it back together. And instead of hiding the blemishes, we, you know, dust them with gold, and it becomes the golden repair and symbols of our strength and resilience. So when you think about all the different things that can be on our to-do list to help the country heal or connect or grow, maybe not in a perfect way, but a good first step, what would be one thing that you would like to tackle?
There's a lot of things.
Sure.
If it's okay, I'm gonna say two things that popped into my head.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
start
Yeah.
start with the first was we're always going to have politics in every aspect of our lives, and I think that's okay. It's part of the fabric of who we are,
Yeah. It's
humans.
how a road gets paved. Politics, if you want your road paved and your trash picked up, politics are involved, in some form or fashion, right?
Exactly, and we have become so polarized. I feel like if I was going to fix something, it would be really installing the value of moderation, um, thinking about the center, thinking about the middle, um, and I think that's big for me. The second thing I'd say is accountability. I think politically and in many ways culturally, we've seen accountability among people erode. Um, and I think from a societal standpoint, if we can't be accountable to ourselves and other people, um, a lot of what we have come to see is just hot air. I mean, some people use fake news, you name it. Um, and I'll go back to one of the other questions you said, where I talked about one of the greatest things about this country is choice, and what America means to me is choice. The danger of that choice is not being accountable for the choices you make. And that's one of the areas that, if we don't have both, you have great choice, but with that choice comes the responsibility to be accountable. That's where I see us diverting from moderation, middle ground, into these very polar extremes.
Yeah, I hear you. The whole concept of accountability. So, hey, if something goes well, we can be accountable to that. We can celebrate that. But if you spill the milk, you got to own that too. You can't point the finger. We got to, we own it all, and being accountable is a good value for all of us to align to. I love that, how you brought that up. So in the series, I've been asking the person before you if they have a question. So the other day I was speaking with Jessica Rose from Oklahoma, and her question is this one. What's something you think you can do today to help make the country a bit better?
I think the how I'd answer that is aligned with what I'm trying to do in my everyday job. Um, is be more individually resilient.
Mm,
Identify ways that you can be resilient in your life. And one of those ways is to ensure that you are open to the concept of social cohesion.
yeah,
And that what that means is you're willing to help others and have others help you, because when you do that, you're greater than the sum of your individual parts. It's I help
yeah.
you, you help me, we help everybody. We all get better together. And that's the core of resilience thinking. But I think a lot of what I've seen in my work, just daily life, is that um, we we have a rapidly changing world, and that there's a lot of expectations that resilience will come from some other place, and the reality is most of it will not. It's with you, and just teaching people that there, and that's again, back to my other. It's a choice, and it's a
It's a
choice
choice,
worth
yeah.
making.
Yeah. Yeah, it's as cliche as it is, it's the 1 plus 1 equals 3, and
Yeah,
it does start with us. We can't just wait around for, um, some new leader to pop into our government or our corporations or our communities. It really does it starts with us, that we can look at our fellow neighbor and see our story and their story and vice versa and help each other out. So, I love that you brought that up. So what question would you have for the next person I talk to in our series?
so that's a great one. I've actually just in my head very quickly debating fun, serious question,
Sure.
knowledgeable question. Um, and let me just think in terms of what we've been talking about, and um, for America. Um, in the line of work I do, the year 2050 is a very important year. So my question to whoever comes next in your series is, what is your vision of America in 2050?
Okay.
And what if you were to write a newspaper article, um, your prediction of 2050, what would your newspaper article say?
Okay.
And the reason why 2050 is important is I'm involved with climate change work, and
Sure.
2050 is a goal um, globally to become carbon neutral. by 2050. This is a very aspirational goal. It's still an important goal, and that is intended to mitigate the warming, rapidly increasing temperatures that we're experiencing, and the changes that they're occurring. And so, without trying to fulfill this goal, um, and even if we do, we're going to see change. It just depends on the scale of the change, the intensity of the change. And so 2050, by all accounts, we know it's going to be different than now. Yes.
Sure.
But how much different? And how much
Yeah.
control do we have on, is 2050 going to be a good different or a bad different?
Yes. And we have choice as we move to that particular date. Great question. Obviously, very much aligned to your work, but in your passion. But it's something we should all be passionate about. We're all living through record heat, and I think people have also, we're hopefully paying attention to how intense the storms are. It's like the ebb and flow seems to be deeper and higher as far as the intensity that we're living in. So I will definitely ask that question of the next person I talk to in the series. And Howard, thanks again for joining me, and thanks for putting a important ripple effect into the world. I really appreciate, you know, what you shared today, and really what you're doing to make the world just a bit better tomorrow than it is today. So again, thanks for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great discussion.
It's always great to connect with another from my university, James Madison. So I'm so thankful that Howard decided to join our series. And I love how he introduced the whole concept of choice. And with that choice, there's responsibility and accountability. Those in our pause, breathe, reflect, meditative Sangha know that I often will say, you're always at choice. We have a choice every day in how we wish to show up for ourselves, hopefully in accordance to our values, our first principles. But of course, we also have a choice in how we show up for each other. And I love his question as it relates to 2050. So, what steps are you taking? Or how do you think 2050 will be? Let me know in the comments section. And as always, thanks for listening in. And I hope you'll check out the next episode of Whole Again and continue to listen in to this series, A Perfectly Imperfect Union. But until then, let's remember to celebrate our scars as golden symbols of our strength and resilience. And don't forget to have fun storming the castle. And if you wish to learn more about creating beautiful ripples and how to prevent a bad moment from turning into a bad day, please visit my website, michaelobrienshift.com, and sign up for my newsletter called The Ripple Effect. And join us each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here at Whole Again, and discover how you can heal, grow, and become more resilient, and celebrate our scars as golden symbols of strength and resilience. Until then, remember, you can always come back to your breath. You've got this, and we've got you.